Again, good morning everyone. This is your Nilofar ma'am. I am explaining you lesson 4a, the ashes that made trees bloom. So the explanation of half lesson I have already provided you. Now in this video I will explain you the remaining lesson. So let's get started. Not long after that, the good old man dreamed again, and the spirit of the dog spoke to him, telling him how the wicked people had burned the mill made from the pine tree. So when the neighbors had burned the mill and the things which has been made by the pine tree, so again the spirit of the dog appeared before the farmer, and the spirit of the dog told him that how the wicked people had burned the mill made from the pine tree. And the dog said to the farmer, "Take the ashes of the mill, sprinkle them on the withered trees, and they will bloom again," said the dog spirit. Withered means bare and dry. So the dog said that take the ashes of the mill and sprinkle them on the dry trees, and they will bloom again. The old man awoke and went at once to his wicked neighbor's house, where he found the miserable old pair sitting at the edge of their square fireplace in the middle of the floor, smoking and spinning. From time to time they warmed their hands and feet with the blaze from some bits of the mill, while behind them lay a pile of the broken pieces. So after listening the dog, the old man awoke and went to the neighbors, and there he saw that the cruel neighbors, they were sitting at the edge of their fireplace, and they were warming their hands and feet with the blaze, and some pieces of broken mill was lying there also. The good old man humbly asked for the ashes. So the farmer has humbly asked for the ashes, though the covetous couple turned up their noses at him and scolded him as if he were a thief. They let him fill his basket with the ashes. So first of all, the covetous couple scolded the farmer, but they have let him to fill the basket with the ashes. On coming home, the old man took his wife into the garden. It being winter, their favorite cherry tree was bare. So when the farmer returned back home, he took his wife to the garden, and they saw that their favorite cherry tree was bare. It was dry. He sprinkled a pinch of ashes on it, and lol, it sprouted blossoms until it became a cloud of pink blooms which perfumed the air. And when the farmer sprinkled a pinch of ashes on the tree, it blossoms, and pink blooms perfumed the air. The news of this filled the village, and everyone ran out to see the wonder. So the news filled the village, and everyone came to see the wonder. The covetous couple also heard the story, and gathering up the remaining ashes of the mill, capped them to make withered trees blossom. And the greedy couple, the wicked couple, also heard the same story, and what they have done, they also gathered the remaining ashes and they sprinkled on the dry trees to blossom them. The kind old man, hearing that his lord, the daimyo, was to pass along the high road near the village, set out to see him. Taking his basket of ashes, as the train approached, he climbed up into an old withered cherry tree that stood by the wayside. So when the kind man, the farmer, has heard that the king was to pass along the high road near the village, so what he has done, he has taken the basket of ashes with him, and as the train approached, he climbed into an old withered cherry tree. He has climbed on a dry cherry tree that stood by the wayside, from where the king has to pass. Now, in the days of the daimyos, it was the custom, when their lord passes, for all the royal people to shut up their high windows. So it was the culture and custom at that time, when the king has to be passed from the ways. So all the loyal people has to shut their windows. They even pasted them fast with a slip of paper, so as not to commit the impertinence of looking down on his lordship. And they even cannot see their king by looking up. At the people along the road would fall upon their hands and knees and remain prostrate until the procession passed by. Procession means it is a group of people and vehicle which move slowly in a line. So when the king has to be passed from the road, all the people has to sit on their knees and remain prostrate until the procession passed by. The train drew near one tall competent man marched ahead, crying out to the people by the way, "Get down on your knees, get down on your knees," and everyone kneeled down while the procession was passing. And when the procession was passing near the village, a competent man, he came forward and he said that, get down on your knees, and everyone kneeled down. Everyone was sitting on their knees when the procession was passing from there. Suddenly the leader of the van caught sight of the aged man up in the tree. He was about to call out to him in an angry tone, but seeing he was such an old fellow, he pretended not to notice him and passed him by. So suddenly a leader has saw the old farmer on the tree. He was calling the farmer to punish him because he was not sitting on the knees. But when he saw that the farmer was too old, he pretended that he has not seen the farmer. So when the daimyo's palanquin drew near, the old man, taking a pinch of ashes from his basket, scattered it over the tree. In a moment it burst into blossom. So when the palanquin means it is a royal van of the king. So when the palanquin was passing near the tree, what the old farmer has done, he has taken a pinch of ashes from the basket and he scattered it over the tree, and in a moment the dry tree burst into blossom. The delighted daimyo ordered the train to be stopped and got out to see the wonder. So when the king has saw this wonder, the king has said to stop the train. Calling the old man to him, he thanked him and ordered presents of silk robes, sponge cake, fans, and other rewards to be given him. He even invited him to his castle. So the old man went gleefully home to share his joy with his dear old wife. Gleefully means happily. So what the king has done, he has given a lot of gifts to the old farmer, and he has invited him to the castle, also to the palace. And after this, the old man went to his home gleefully, happily, to share this joy with his dear old wife. But when the greedy neighbor heard of it, he took some of the magic ashes and went on the highway. But when the greedy neighbor heard of it, he took some of the magic ashes and went out on the highway. There he waited until a daimyo's train came along, and instead of kneeling down like the crowd, he climbed a withered cherry tree. So when the greedy neighbors has heard about this wonder, they wanted to do the same. They have taken the ashes, they were thinking that the ashes were magical. So they were waiting for until the daimyo's train came along, and instead of sitting on their knees, what the wicked neighbor has done, he climbed a withered cherry tree. When the daimyo himself was almost directly under him, he threw a handful of ashes over the tree, which did not change a particle. The wind blew the fine dust in the noses and eyes of the daimyo and his wife. So he has done the same. When the daimyo was just under the tree, the wicked neighbor has taken a handful of ashes and he threw on the tree. But what happened? Because of the wind, the dust blew into the noses and eyes of the daimyo and his wife. Such sneezing and choking, it spoiled all the pomp and dignity of the procession. And because they both were sneezing and choking, so the whole procession was spoiled at that time. The man whose business it was to cry, "Get down on your knees," seized the old fool by the collar, dragged him from the tree and tumbled him and his ash basket into the ditch by the road. And the person who was responsible for the procession, he has seized the old fool. Seized means caught. He has caught the old man, the wicked neighbor, and dragged him from the tree. He tumbled him and his ash basket and ditched him by the road. Then beating him soundly, he left him for dead. And he has beaten the wicked neighbor too badly. Thus the wicked old man died in the mud, but the kind friend of the dog dwelt in peace and plenty, and both he and his wife lived to a green old age. And that time the wicked old neighbor has died in the mud, and the spirit of the kind friend, the spirit of the dog, dwelt in peace and plenty, and both the farmer and his wife, the kind couple, has lived peacefully with happiness. So this was the lesson 4A, the ashes that made trees bloom, which I have explained you. I hope everything is clear to all of you. If still any confusion is there, so you can ask me on the WhatsApp also. I'll meet you in the another explanation video. Till that, keep learning, stay home, stay safe. Bye bye everyone.